welcome to Discover Your Best Self podcast. And today I'm so excited. You know why? Because I have none other than Jerry Flores today. He is actually the owner of Dreamlight Production Studio here in Pearland, Texas. And the reason why today is so special is because he's a person that has been helping me do this podcast. I've been using his studio. And, you know, Jerry is someone that I admire myself because he is an entrepreneur, a businessman, and he started from, nothing. Started his own business. Was working in corporate and decided to go ahead and jump off that cliff and do what he wanted to do, and has just been building his brand. And now, he's one of the #1 studios here in Houston, Texas, and sought after, and has like a waiting list of people to come in and use his services. So Jerry, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, I guess my name is Jerry Flores. I call myself a cinematic storyteller.
Oh, right? I like that.
The reason for that is because everything we do, whether it's photo or video, we try to put a story together and tell the person's story, whether it be a baby, a model, a bride, real estate, doesn't matter. Everything has some type of story, and so we always try to bring that out. Based on that, I've been doing it photo video stuff for about 12 years now.
Okay.
The brick and mortar building that we're in right now, we're about to make 3 years in June.
Oh, good.
Yep. Yeah, and then we do everything from photo, video, photo booths, podcast, you name it. We don't say no to anything within reason.
Within reason.
Morally, of course.
Okay. Okay. So look, tell us about your journey, right? From, your inception, the idea of, doing this, and then how you transition from your job into, quitting your job and starting.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll give you the short version.
Okay.
We'll be here for 2 hours.
Okay.
Well, so basically what ended up happening is I got a camcorder. I've always been into photo video stuff. When I was little, I used to watch the DVDs. I'm dating myself. DVDs of the behind the scenes, the making of, and I would always like to see how they made Jaws, how they made those type of movies, Star Wars and stuff like that. And I was more intrigued with that than the actual movie. So then, as I got older, I would always play around with video and photo, but never took it serious.
Okay.
And then when I started having kids, I started getting a camcorder and I started recording our vacations. Which wasn't a lot, right? So, but every little vacation, every little thing we did, I always try to record it and put it together to something that I thought was cool, right? I didn't really care about what anybody else thought. I just said, this is cool to me, so I'm going to make this and do that. And then that gradually evolved. And then somebody said, hey, these are actually really cool. Can you shoot my son's first birthday?
Right.
And I'm like, sure, no problem. So I create that. And then someone's like, hey, can you shoot my daughter's baptismal? Sure, no problem. And then eventually somebody said, hey, these are really good. How much do you charge? And I was like, I have no idea.
No.
I've never charged anybody. So $50, and they were like, okay. And I was like, all right. So then I started doing that, and after a while, I was like, man, I started getting booked really, really fast, and I was like, this is a lot of work for $50.
Yeah.
So
you started valuing what you were doing at the time. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Before it was fun at first, and now it became a job, and I was like, we need to go up. So I said, okay, 100, and people were like, yeah, that's great. And I was like 150, and they're like, okay, great. And 200, and they're like, okay. And then I was like, well, I might have something here. And then I just evolved it, and so I did that, and then I eventually was like, you know what, I can make this a business. And not only that, but I love what I do.
Right.
So I started out of my garage, out of my house, meeting people at Starbucks and at restaurants. And I don't knock that one bit because that's where I started.
Starbucks is like where the deals happen.
That's
the start of everything.
Yeah, that's the corner. That's the block right there. You want to make a deal happen? You
go to Starbucks.
So I don't knock it one bit, but I told everybody, I need something a little bit more professional.
Yeah.
Because I'm evolving and I'm growing, and it started becoming like a drug deal.
Yeah.
Because people would hand an envelope with thousands of dollars across the table.
Yeah.
I'd have to look down and try to count it, make sure nobody's watching me. Or I'm talking to you about your wedding, and I'm showing you albums and photos and stuff, your video, and the guy next to us is on his laptop watching House of Cards.
Right.
Like it just wasn't professional, right? And then eventually, like, you're charging how much? And I gotta meet you at Starbucks,
right?
Like, and it's just so it wasn't professional. So I said, okay, let me get a place. And then I said, okay, if I'm gonna get a place, I don't want to have a bunch of offices. I wanted to have something that I want to build it with purpose. And then, you know, I was praying about it, trying to figure it out. Me and my wife, we talked about it for a long time, and we came across this place, and then we were able to build it out the way we need to.
So quick, I just want to go back real quick. While you were doing that, where were you working?
I was working at oil and gas.
Okay.
So I really won't say the name just because I don't think they deserve the extra.
They don't get the
shout
credit.
out. They don't get the shout out, right?
Okay.
Nah, but I mean, I'm not a hater, right? Like, so I was working at BP, and I was doing. And what's crazy is that story is almost as crazy as my entrepreneur story, because a real quick gist of that, I tell everybody that comes in here, it's not what you know, it's who you know. But the most important part of that is how you treat somebody.
Yeah.
Right? Because you could be the best person at whatever you do, singing, acting, drawing, whatever. If you're mean to people, no one's gonna want to deal with you.
Nobody likes you. Yeah,
no, nobody.
You have
They'll
to be
tolerate
likable.
you.
Yeah.
They'll tolerate you up until they find somebody who's remotely close to you, and they're nicer.
Right.
And they're gone. Right. And the reason I say that is because I started off doing support. It was a rollout. They were switching from like 95 to 98 Windows, like another dating version of it. But so they were switching. So it was literally, I was only there for 3 months. It was a 3-month project, and we had to take all the computers and change them from 95 to 98 or 98 to one of the two. And that was all it was for. But everything was yes for me. Hey, can you stay late? Yes. Can you come in early? Yes. Hey, I need you to pick up this trash. Yes. I need you to do this. Yes, yes. And then they were like, man, you're staying here longer. So then, and then it just gradually evolved. And from there, the work ethic is what got me to where I was at. Because then they would say, okay, well, we need somebody in help desk. I got you. So no problem. I learned that. Oh, I love your work ethic. We got desktop support. So it went from rollout, help desk, desktop support, and then to what was crazy is I then went from there to civil structure design. And I had no design experience, no civil structure background.
But they'll invest in you.
Yes, because of my work ethic. They were like, and the conversation was, hey, I love your work ethic. You're very smart. You're a go-getter. Would you ever think about changing careers? And I said, yeah. I mean, how much does it pay? Like, that's really the end of the day, what it comes down to. And they were like, we'll train you. We'll look past. You have to have schooling to be in this position. We'll look past that. As long as you go to school, but we'll pay for your school, and we're gonna give you a bonus for signing on, and you're gonna be paid X amount of dollars. And I was like, man, I can start tomorrow. Yeah. Right. And then that went from there, and then from the civil structure design stuff, I would go around and meet all the different people, and then someone said, hey, we got a position in HR, and obviously you need a degree to be in HR, and you need to do all this other stuff, and they're like, look, we'll look past that as long as you know. You go to school.
They kept looking past it, didn't they?
Well, they're like, we'll look past it as long as you get it.
Right, right.
But the best part about that is like, we'll pay for you to get it.
Right.
So I said, okay. So we did that, and I started doing that, and I was in HR, and I was making sure everybody was OSHA compliant, you know, training, and then they got bought out by Marathon, and I did that, and still was an HR trainer. Everybody asked me how you do it, and I was like, really, it was just the work ethic. Yeah. And treating people nice. Right. That was the end of the day. I treated everybody with respect and nice, and they were willing to look past the paperwork or the technicalities because they knew that I could get it even if I wanted it.
So how do you translate that into, you know, you building your business? You know, because some people feel like, oh, well, let me just go out here and build my business, and I don't, you know, have to have any type of background, or even they don't understand, like, going to work helps you train for the things that you want to do.
100%. So everything from the very beginning to do that rollout to the civil structure design, being out in the heat and the boilers and FRCs and all that, you believe it or not, has been one point or another within the studio built. Right? People come and say, man, you're so lucky you got a studio. I'm like, it's not luck. Right. Like, I've been doing this for 12 years. Right. Like, I'll give you an example. The knowledge that I found from doing HR training, training to make sure that people are OSHA compliant, make sure they're compliant for their engineering jobs, all that stuff. In that aspect, I had to learn, you know, paperwork. I had to learn, you know, organization. I had to learn communication skills with a variety of people, because engineers have different personalities than people in the field, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's like all that, so that translates here. Now I build a business, you have to know paperwork, you have to know taxes, you have to know, we have people that work here, you have to have employees, you gotta know how to interact with employees, know that one employee may react to a conversation differently than another employee, even though they're in the same aspect and you mean them the same. One may take it personal.
Right.
So it's one of those things that, you know, everything has come full circle, believe it or not. I mean, I tell everybody, you definitely gotta go out there and do a variety of things to learn what you're gonna do. If you're just gonna go blind, it's not gonna work. It's just not. It's really, I mean, now granted, I don't know everything. I'm still learning as I'm going, and I'm kind of winging stuff here. But with the foundation I have from all the other stuff, that's allowed me to be able to do that.
Yeah. So I wanted to touch on something that you said earlier, which was, you know, you had to stop meeting at Starbucks because people are like, well, if I'm gonna pay for this service,
Correct.
you know, this isn't the type of, you know, I want professional service. How important is that to see when that transition is needed?
Everybody's situation is different.
Right.
Some people, so what I tell people, especially when they come in here, it's all perception.
Yeah.
It's kind of cliche when people say dress for the job you want, because not everybody needs to be in a suit and tie.
Right. Yeah.
And because I wear a t-shirt does not mean that I'm not any less valuable than anybody else. But perception-wise, people, it's the first impression is the most important, right? So even if I'm in a suit and tie, but we're meeting at Starbucks, you're like, man, he dresses well, but is he really professional?
Yeah, what's going on?
Is he hiding something? Is he trying to win me over? Is he actually gonna show up at my wedding? Like, there's all these questions. Even though I'm a nice guy, even though I look nice, I'm dressing nice, I'm having a professional conversation, you still have that doubt. And people who come here now have that relaxation, right? They don't even question it. They're like, what do you charge? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, granted, there's situations, but overall they realize, because we are insured, we are a location, we're a legitimate business. If we don't show, they know where to come find us.
You're not a Craigslist.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then I tell people on that same aspect, some people say, hey, I know a guy on Craigslist who can do it for half the price. I'm like, that's great, but is he a legitimate business?
Right. And it just depends too, right? So for example, like when my daughter was born, you know, I was on a budget, you know, and so I did find somebody on Craigslist, and they were, you know, luckily for me, they were just starting out, but she was really good.
Yeah.
Came to the house, did the whole like newborn thing. So I went to her a year later, and her prices increased because she's gotten so much better. She was that she had quit her job, and the same thing, you know. And so now I can't even get in touch with her. Now, she didn't even answer my phone call. I'm like, what was one of your first customers? You know,
I was there when we first started.
Yeah, I was there when we first started. But I mean, but that's how it happens. Like the same thing. I met somebody in a Chipotle line to come and install my TVs. Did it? I can't remember, like 50. No. Did it like $50, I think, the first time. I literally just saw their work van on the street.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's him.
Yeah,
like he didn't even have a van before. I think he was
and
working for like a company, and I was like, oh, that's good. Like that's really good.
100%. And that's why I tell everybody, I don't knock the meeting at Starbucks, meeting at restaurants, meeting at in gas station parking lots. Like, I don't knock it, right? But you have to evolve eventually, right? The same thing. You said you went on Craigslist, no issue.
Right.
If you're a legitimate person trying to be honest and do a good living, you have to start somewhere. So Craigslist for free. You know, when I first got into weddings, my first 3 weddings were free. Yeah. I didn't charge. Right. And it's like, why? I had already been doing it for years. I've been doing baby showers, birthday parties, but because I didn't have that actual experience in the wedding industry, I didn't want to charge somebody and then feel bad because I didn't produce what they wanted. Yeah. So I did it for free, so that way you're understanding that I'm learning, but you're not coming out of pocket, and you're getting what you need. I'm still gonna put 150% as if you're paying a customer, but I want to learn, and then, so yeah, that's why I don't knock the Craigslist stuff. All I'm saying is, like, eventually you have to evolve, and the perception. Is what people look for, right? When you go to Mercedes-Benz, the guy who comes out is not in a t-shirt. Right? Yeah. So I mean, I used to Chick-fil-A mentality all the time. In the studio, world here in Houston, I can only speak for Houston. In the studio world, I tell everybody we have the Chick-fil-A mentality, right? You come in, yes sir, no sir, my pleasure, anything I can do to help you. We don't nickel and dime you.
Right.
We do have prices for certain things, but I mean, if it's a matter of 5-minute difference, you're not gonna get charged for it, right? Like it's one of those things that we treat people like we want to be treated, and we get the respect. We don't really advertise that much, but we've had celebrities, we've had big name clients, we've had everyday people. Just
so tell me about that, like you, right? Because if you're not doing a whole lot of advertising, how important and how much value do you put on word of mouth and referrals?
That word of mouth referrals is the foundation of my business, right? When I was shooting for free, somebody else said, "Hey, look," they showed their video of their son's baptismal or their daughter's baptismal, and they're like, "Hey, that's pretty dope. Who did it?" "Oh, well, this guy Jerry. Call him. He's really nice. He answers the phone. He responds. He'll give you information. Even if you don't go with him, he'll still give you information." And then it just snowballs from there. I mean, somebody you do great work for is gonna tell a lot less people than somebody you did bad work for. So if someone doesn't like you or they don't like your product, they're gonna tell a lot more people than someone who loves it. So I just live by the rule that I'm just gonna try to do my best. I'm not gonna make everybody happy, but 95% of the people like what I do. So.
Good. And so I know that you haven't said it yet, but you know you have other projects that you work on, right?
Yes.
But how important is it to start with the foundation? Like, you know, look, this is what I do first, and now I can start building and doing other projects. What is that process?
So
like?
for me personally, I found that being great at one thing allows me to be good at others. But if I would have started off when I first started off, if I was already branching off and doing all the different things that I do now, I wouldn't be where I am, because I wouldn't have the time or energy to focus on one thing to be great at, and then have a little bit of time to be able to branch off and train other people to help take over some of the stuff that I don't necessarily have to be there to do.
Right.
So I would definitely say you have to be, whatever you're singing, acting, dancing, photos, video, whatever, be the best at it first and then branch off. You don't need to, you know, make t-shirts and then, you know, go photo booths and the video all in the same time. There's nothing wrong with having multiple incomes, but not when you're still learning. Master one thing first and then keep going. That's just my perspective and what I found worked for me, and I mean it's still working. So
yeah. So your studio, how did it start off, right? Because you didn't have all these things. Y'all, let me tell you, he has like ramps and lights and water, anything you want for the best music video you can get here. But you didn't have all those things at first, right?
Oh no. So when I found this location, it was just concrete.
Okay.
Bare walls, concrete, and an open area for plumbing. And I had to build it from scratch, which was good and bad.
Right.
Good thing about it, I was able to make it the way I wanted. Bad thing about it cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. But what I found is like customers. I always went back to customers, from desktop support, everything, customer service. Customers come in here, they're like, man, if only, I'd ask everybody the first day when they would rent, hey, they're like, this studio is great, it's dope, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, okay, hey, if there was one thing you could add to this place to say, this would, if I only had this would be the spot to be. And they would tell me, oh, you need more lighting, oh, you need more, you know, if only you had a vanity mirror, if only you had extra backgrounds, if only you had this, only you had that. So I would take that and then bring it back to the table, and then we would then put it on down, and because everything costs money, so then we would figure out what's more important. Right. What can then allow more customers to come back, right? So rather than put more backdrops, if we put a vanity up, we can get more customers, and then we would get the vanity first, but keeping everything in order. So that goes back to the organizational portion of it, right? Having everything written down and saying, look, we're gonna go vanity first, then backgrounds, and then so obviously now we're a little bit past that, but that the key to this whole thing is reinvest in your business, right? If you make $1,000 on a deal, you have to put $800 back into it, right? I mean, You can't take 900 and say, oh, I'm gonna put $100 back into my business. You're never gonna grow, and eventually that's gonna run out. So reinvesting in business, reinvesting in talent, reinvesting in people who can help you grow it. What I found within these 12 years is you have to have a team. I used to be a one-man band. I'd meet the clients, I'd shoot, I'd edit, I'd deliver, I'd post, talk to you guys, answer text messages, and it's just, you burn out.
Right.
There's no way you can do it.
How you find good people?
That's the hardest part. For me, I don't really look at resumes, and
is it because
100%?
Yeah,
100%.
Because that's not how you're like, that's not how I got to be where I am.
Correct.
It's the person.
The person. So I don't really look at resumes. I look at like video demo reels and stuff like that for our editors, but even then I still don't judge on that. I still meet them every week. I'm still old school. Like you come in, we're gonna have a conversation, and it's not gonna be like, okay, tell me your past 5 years. Okay, what would make you better? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
You want to know who that person is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are you married? Do you have kids? You know, what do you like to do when you're not working?
You want to get your OSHA rules?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we don't. No, I get it. HIPAA, OSHA, you can come after me if you want. You know, but everybody that works for us loves being here.
No, but you want to know that you have a reliable person because your business.
I don't ask like
yeah.
you know, why are you divorced? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing like that. It's more or less just tell me something, you know, something that I would want to know. Like, if I was your best friend, what would you want me to know?
Right.
Like what makes you happy? Like, and everybody that works here, I know where their future plans are, where their goals are. I'm not saying, hey, you're a video editor, so you're gonna sit here and edit videos and you're not doing nothing.
Right.
They're like, hey, I want to also learn photos. Okay, well, edit these videos. Once you're done, I'll teach you how to shoot photos. Right, because that's your passion. I'm gonna try to help you get there.
And it's gonna help you too.
100%.
When somebody's happy and they're doing things they want to do, then they want to help more.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, great. Now I have this reliable person who
100%.
loves what they do.
Yep.
You don't want somebody who hates coming here because they're gonna resent you then.
Yeah, I base everything on feel, energy, and just overall conversation. Anybody that works for us now, if you talk to them on your own and ask them, hey, if he asked you to stay late, would you do it? All of them would say yes. Yeah. If they ask you to come early, they would say yes, and not by force. Right. It's just they'd be like, yeah, I'm down to help. Like everybody, anything that you see coming out of our studio from here on out, it's not an individual. It's a joint effort. Right. And so that's what I would say.
So what do you do with like people, you know, in the city or whatever, whoever want to collaborating with other people? How does that affect your business, or how do you welcome that?
So I'm all for collaboration, right? As long as it's a two-way street, right? Because there's so many times where anywhere you listen to, right? I mean, whether you're a motivational speaker or you listen to whatever you listen to, all of them will say collaboration is great, as long as it's a two-way street, right? Because if you're trying to hit up somebody because they're famous and you only want them to, you know, give you a shout out or hey, sell my product or whatever, they're not gonna listen to you, right? Because you're not bringing any value to them.
What's the value add?
Exactly, the value is all on my end. You come here and you're like, hey, I want your studio for free, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, no problem, but what are you gonna help me with, right? Not necessarily has to be that way, but it's like, okay, I'm gonna provide you with something great. What's your thought process? Like, where are you gonna go from here, right? Like, oh well, I'm just gonna shoot a music video for my friend. Right. Okay, well, yeah, that doesn't help me. Right. Right. Or I'm in a position where I'm willing to help. I've helped like nonprofits. I've helped people who have a valuable story to tell. More than we call them passion projects. Okay. So I'm down 100% to help passion projects like that. But whether you're an actor or whatever, if you're hitting people, especially on Instagram and the DMs, and be like, hey, can you give me a shout out, or hey, can you do this? And they're like, hey, okay, no problem, $50. And you're like, whoa, what are you charging me for? Like,
you just ask for free advertising.
You're just asking for free. You can go to the radio station, go to the newspaper, ask them, or they'll run your ad. What's the first thing they'll give you? Is going to give you their price sheet. Right. So, individual, I mean, they do the same thing. But that's not to say anybody comes in here. If you have a great idea, and it's something I believe in, or something I believe in for you, I don't have a problem helping you as far as collaborations, right? So, by the end of the day, you can't pay your rent with collaboration dollars, right? So,
It's the truth.
It's the end of the day. I mean, any business that you're in, you have to be profitable. You have to. People tell me, hey, I want to feed the hungry. I want to do this. I want to do that. That's great. Well, how are you gonna do that with no money? Right? You have to buy the food. You can only get so many donations.
Right.
Eventually, someone's gonna stop donating to you. You got to be able to fund it. So build something, and then go give back. Right? Go and build schools and give back to the needy, and help the homeless and all that. That's my advice. Not to say it's the end all be all, but that's how I see things.
That's how I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know we don't have much time, but I just have one more question.
Shoot.
So tell me, why do you value building relationships, especially in your industry?
So industries. This goes back to the very beginning. I would build relationships. I treat when I was in doing help desk and desktop support and all that stuff, and even the civil structure design, I would treat the janitor the same way I would treat the CEO, because not only as a good person, as an individual, because that's how I want to be treated, but in the long run, you don't know if that janitor goes and builds his own company and comes back and buys this one, and now the CEO you've been so nice to is now the janitor, right? Like, or the guy's like, I got to do budget cuts, and I had to cut everybody. But you know what? I'm keeping you, Jay, because you treated me well when I had nothing. So it really just the golden rule: treat people how you want to be treated. So that's how I would say relationships are key, right? They're super key. That's why I said it's not what you know too. Your best friend you may be trying to talk to Beyonce, and her manager is the guy that you made fun of in high school. And you're never gonna talk to her, right? But if you treated him super nice and like, hey man, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
I don't want to like stalk her. I just want to say hi to her.
Right.
I got you. No problem. Right? Or hey, I want to let her use my studio for free. Can you just get that message to her? She may say no, but just get that. I got you. Right? And you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised the kind of connections you'll make. And it goes in business deals. You may get a business deal, multi-million-dollar business deal that you would have never got. And the simple fact is that you held a spot in line for the guy at Chipotle, right? Like you just never know. So
that Chick-fil-A is important.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I mean, you think about it, Chick-fil-A, right? I mean, granted, not everybody loves their food and whatever, but personality-wise, if you
service is good.
If you look at it from an outside perspective, you're giving them an experience. Yes, most people will agree the chicken sandwich is great.
Yes.
Right? But most people are paying $7 for a chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
When you go to McDonald's and buy it for $1, but at McDonald's you're like, what do you want?
Right.
And the Chick-fil-A is how can I help?
Right.
Right. So you're buying that experience. So as long as whatever you do, whether it's acting, drawing, if you provide an experience that people can remember, because if you think about it, you probably don't remember the time you made $1,000, but you remember the time you made 100 and you were like, man, I had so much fun, right? Like because of the experience is part of that $100. So I mean that's how we see things here, and I mean that's how we've been able to grow and we continue to do it. So we're blessed. Hopefully we get this piece of land and build a bigger studio.
Yeah.
Small Tyler Perry, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, here we have a Houston Hollywood somewhere.
That's what I'm trying to do.
That's what we need.
That's the ultimate goal. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm using this studio as a platform to be able to provide a bigger studio.
Yeah.
And eventually bring movies and stuff to Houston. Not necessarily me shooting them,
right.
but having a location for them to shoot it. Because, I mean, people are like, what are you doing? Like, look, don't worry about the studio bringing the movies, because when they're here, they need talent, they need PAs, they need actors, they need actresses, they need craft services.
And he has a lot of talent. It's a lot going on here. It's just you have to build that platform for those things to happen.
And I'm just trying to be the road that everybody can drive on. So that's the ultimate goal.
That's good. Hey, how can people find you on social media?
So we're Dreamline Productions everything. Instagram, Dreamline Productions. That's Dream, Lite, and then Productions with an S. Facebook, same. Website, same. Our studio is different than Dreamlight Productions, but if you go to dreamlightproductions.com, it will link you to our studio.
Mm-hmm.
Our studio is dlprostudio.com. The reason they're separate is because we want to give everybody else a platform
Mm-hmm.
on our studio page. So if you go to our studio page, you'll never see none of our work. You'll see everybody else's work. Everybody else's work. So yeah, I want to get back to, and that's another way I can, because we do have some big names and stuff that come through here, and they can go to our website, but they'll never see our work. And that's how we do it for streamlightproductions.com, Dreamlight Productions at everything else, and DL Pro Studio for our studio stuff.
Awesome. Thank you, Jerry, so much.
No problem. Thanks for having me. It's
absolutely.
awesome. Yeah.